Welcome to another episode of Podcasting While Nerdy. You're here with That Nerd ADC and Brandon 2K.
What's up, geeks?
And boy, did we got a lot for you. So we're not going to even hold you. Let's get right into it. What's blowing up our Twitter feeds? The first thing we got is John Hamm turned down the Green Lantern role. I would not even accept a phone call from Zack Snyder, but that's just me. So I don't blame you, John Hamm. But yeah, John Hamm turned down Green Lantern role. He said it wasn't for him. This is not the role he was looking to play. But he hinted that there is roles he would like to play on the other side of the fence at Marvel. It's just that DC is not his cup of tea, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. You know, light and the darkness. You know, people have their opinions on where that line is, and right now the line is very one side. You have Marvel, which is super, in my vision, personal opinion, a lot of their movies, especially lately, campy and colorful and and you got DC, which is dark and gritty, and people have their preferences on which one. It sounds like John Hamm definitely has a preference, and that's his preference is light and fuzzy and rainbows and unicorns pooping out Skittles out their butt. So
you can't blame the man, though. He was on a show called Mad Men for 34 freaking seasons, where he had to play someone who's kind of a jerk / ladies man, and it was set back in a time where men didn't respect women, so it was kind of like, you know,
I guess so many rules. John Hamm would kill it though in the DC universe. There's so many rules,
and one of them's not Hal Jordan. That's for darn sure.
No,
I agree wholeheartedly that he shouldn't play Hal Jordan whatsoever.
No, I agree. Not Hal Jordan, but like Two-Face, Harvey Dent, he would probably kill it. A Batman, he would kill it. You know,
like a Keaton style Batman, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think we're past that. I think that we were talking about this off camera, that Batman has kind of evolved into just either a brawler, a bruiser, or just a scientific and detective genius, which is what he is in the books. But I do agree with you. He's got the jawline for it. He'd look great in the cowl. I'll give you that. The first thing that popped into my mind for John Hamm was Harvey Dent, actually. That was solid. Another one that I kind of threw out for Marvel, and this is going to sound crazy. It's going to sound crazy. But, I wanted to see him in Loki as a variant of Loki.
Yeah.
And before we got Jonathan Majors as Kang, I kind of pictured him as the Kang just because of how he talks and his attitude and how he's able to, deliver what I call platitudes, which is like those one-liners that we got from Majors in the Quantum Mania. I just think he's got a way to deliver comedy and a way to deliver dark comedy that it would land. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, John Hamm. You shouldn't have played Hal Jordan.
No, I'm glad that he didn't go for that role because it wouldn't have been right. But I could send him as a member of the Authority too.
Yes.
Like a Midnighter or something like that.
Midnighter. I literally, that was another one too. Before we got Anthony Starr as Homelander, I thought of that too for a split second, but he'd be too funny in that. We wouldn't be able to take him as seriously.
But like a Midnighter.
Midnighter would be, yeah.
Yeah. For you guys who don't know, it's basically their Batman. The Authority's Batman. But picture Batman if he had no moral compass and if he was gay, basically. That's Midnighter.
That is Midnighter. That is a very apt description. Happy Pride Month. Also mental health month.
But yeah, I'm interested to see who they, speaking of Midnighter, who they end up getting as Midnighter.
I think they're so far off on that right now. I think we're going to get a touch of that.
I do hope they do go into the LGBTQ community for it, because there are people out there who could do the role. But John Hamm, I think he dodged the bullet with Green Lantern, especially in Zack Snyder's universe. Moving on.
I have a segue later on, or maybe we jump into it now. I don't know. But for The Boys, there is a lesbian playing a hardcore Republican, anti-gay, anti-trans superhero, and I'm here for it. If you guys haven't been watching The Boys, you guys gotta jump in. Season 4 is insane. Adrian's just getting into The Boys right now, and I told him we're gonna do watch parties, whatever. But I'm telling you guys right now, if you're caught up on The Boys from season 1 through season 3, and you haven't started season 4 yet, I am gushing over this season. It's crazy, and the actress I just mentioned, It is otherworldly. Every time you think they've pushed the envelope past, they create a new envelope, rip it up, throw it in your face. Like, oh, it's so good. Definitely check it out if you haven't watched it. But then
I gotta ask you, man.
Go ask me. Ask.
What is going on with Blade? I feel like this movie is a unicorn at this point. I don't think it's ever going to actually happen. Honestly, I think this is one of those movies that is becoming much like The Flash was back in the day, where it's just problem after problem, and eventually The Flash did come out. But I think it's one of those movies where people are just going to give up on it, and then 10 years down the line, we're going to hear, oh, the Blade's finally come out.
I don't think they got that kind of time with Mahershala.
I don't think no. At this point, it's not going to be Mahershala by the time it comes out. I don't think. But like, do you think this movie is ever going to come out?
Okay, here's my thing with Blade. You know how hard it is for movies to get remade. I.e., look at The Crow coming out. I'm not going to go see it. That's going to be a streamed movie for me.
With Skarsgård, yeah.
With Skarsgård.
Yeah.
The reason they can't do that with the Blade movie, because they've already announced it's going to be a movie. I would have rather seen it as a series because it would have worked really well as a series. There's enough material there. But the problems they're running into are when you try to condense and when you try, I hate to sound like this, but when the woke community comes in and tries to make sure that everything's copacetic and make sure it's balanced and all that other stuff. There was rumors that it was going to be a woman main character at one point. At some point, we have to understand that the source material is there for us not just to honor it, but it's also there to get pulled from so that you don't go off the tracks and then you ruin what's already been established, because nobody wants to see a redux. They want to see the source material that we've all been reading for eons come to life. That is your job as Marvel and DC. We're not asking. It's the same thing with Star Wars. It is the same thing happening with Star Wars, and that Disney owns both properties. You have to see what's going on with Star Wars and go, hey, maybe we shouldn't veer off and go off into the wild blue yonder and have witches making babies with the Force and they don't even know what the Force is. And like, you have all the source material in the world. People already have these universes established. Work within the universe and bring our stuff to life. Don't try to do too much. And I feel like that's what's happening with Blade, is the second you do too much with anything that you have so much source material on, you're going to get eviscerated. 2, you're going to make everybody upset. And 3, you're not going to make any money, which is your jobs. Cinema series wouldn't have as many issues, would have been a little bit more expensive to make, but you wouldn't have half the issues you're having with the script because you'd have 95 writers in the writer room instead of 6.
No, I think you're right. And I think at this point, you hinted at it, Mahershala Ali won't be Blade. The question goes, who do you get? And going back to that massive announcement big deal they made about Mahershala Ali at Comic-Con, who do you get to take that place that doesn't seem like a letdown or a step down, right?
And how do you complete the contract with Mahershala? Because whether he walks away from this project or not, guys, he signed a contract to be in a Blade film. They either have to pay him off or they have to have some clause to protect themselves. And a lot of people don't like signing those contracts. So I guarantee you Disney's in a very, very tight spot when it comes to this Blade movie, which is why all of a sudden we're hearing nothing about it.
Right. And he's a very busy man. Like, you got to work into his schedule. So no, I think we end up getting another Blade, and maybe Mahershala Ali appears as a villain, as a cameo or something like that.
Bring back Cottonmouth, make him a vampire,
right, or something like that. But and maybe they go with like John Boyega or something, or that guy from Get Out and the rest of Peele's movies. Can't think of his name right now. But I'm saying you're going to have to get somebody. Not somebody with some sort of name value to take that spot, and who that is, because also you got to think about long term, right?
Here's a great question for you, Adrian. Since we do a lot of fan castings in this podcast, you're apt at this. I'm having a blank right now of young Black action stars. I feel like there's a shortage of young male Black action stars right now that could fill that role. Could that change in 5 years? Absolutely. But John Boyega's name and the guy from Get Out come up more often than anybody else. Mm-hmm. Because and those guys are coming up on 35, 40 years old.
Yep.
So, and none of them are as athletically inclined as Wesley Snipes.
No,
unfortunately, and you're gonna have to be. Like, I was skeptical about Mahershala's mobility and the ability to do this role already. Who do you go with at this point? And like, don't like. I know I wish I had more answers, but I literally have a blank on young black African American action stars. There's just
not necessarily an action star, but
oh no. With the game that was gonna come out and the way they did the last movie, they've got to get whoever they get into a sword, a kendo school, and a saber school immediately, just to get them up to speed in order to do what they're going to do in this film.
A name that's not really spoken of too much, but I actually think he has range. We're going to be talking about somebody who you believe has range, and I would agree. And another discussion that people will kind of sleep on, but Damian Wayans Jr., for you people who have watched New Girl fans and stuff like that, he's funny, he's young, and he's somebody I think could potentially be a breakout star. I really like him. I think he's somebody that, given a good role, could impress.
We were just talking about The Boys.
Brendan T. Jackson.
Jesse T. Usher.
Yeah.
I feel like he could do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, range. Mm-hmm. Even just on The Boys, he's great.
Well, how do you feel about Damian Wayans Jr.? What do you think there?
I think Hollywood's made enough of a joke of him. I think so. You want to talk about typecasting? Let's Be Cops.
But that was the movie.
He's a jokey guy in that. Like, I don't know. I would love to see it. Typecasting has always been an issue in Hollywood.
But going back to what you were saying, though, there's not many. You're pulling from a very small pool, and he's one of those fish in that pool.
A minority of a minority. A minority of a minority of a minority. Like, literally, it's like bringing it all the way back. What I'd also like to see, what happens every once in a while, is stuntmen who have acting talent or haven't gotten to showcase their acting talent. Like an interview I did way back in the day, Emmanuel Manzanares. I would have loved to see if he could act as a Blue Beetle. I know he could do the job. I know, like, and that's one thing. That's one thing I kind of was like, because I said with Mahershala, I was like, his agility and ability to do the physical things. What if you go from the other direction? Jean-Claude Van Damme couldn't act. Like, don't get me wrong. He got better as he went along. Still isn't like known for his acting. Not as much as like a Jet Li or Jackie Chan, obviously outliers in the system. Mm-hmm. But he was able to do what a Universal Soldier or a Guile needed to be done. So I think if you can go that direction too and bring somebody up that way, that looks even better, especially with it being not necessarily a quote unquote main character. I don't see them doing a Midnight Suns movie or a Midnight Suns run. I don't see them doing a Blood Hunt, which they're doing in the comics right now. I don't see them doing like a Blood Hunt run in the movies or a series.
I don't see a ton of focus being put on Blade, honestly. I think he's going to be one of those figures in the background or a part of an ensemble. Like you may see him in like an Avengers movie or whatever, but he'd be part of an ensemble. Like look, Blade's here, sort of thing.
Oh, here, look, Blade's out here kicking ass. Wow, let's go.
Yeah, similar to like Moon Knight. Like I'm pretty sure when we get more Moon Knight, it's not going to be standalone. The focus is not going to be on Moon. He's going to be a part of a group.
I agree with you on that. I think with the series, they had to kind of emphasize what made Moon Knight special, which is the split personality situation, which means you had to get an actor be able to do the multiple personalities and be believable, which is why the Oscar Isaac casting works so well for that. I think you're hitting the nail right on the head there. I think within it being an ensemble like that, which allows you to cast someone with less technical acting chops and get the action blockbuster we haven't gotten from Marvel in Infinity.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't be surprised if if Blade's not the center of attention in his own movie. It would not surprise me.
And that's where we get the rumors saying that he's not even the main focus in his movie. Like what is crazy to me is we're going to get a self-massaging shoe before we get another Blade movie.
Right.
We're going to get a shoe that you plug into the wall and massages your feet from Nike before we get a Blade movie. Heck, we might get a GTA 6 before we get a Blade movie. And that's saying something.
Yeah, I'm not going to bank on this yet, but like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. They're going to plug a lot of people in this Blade movie. You're going to be like, oh, Moon Knight showed up, or whatever. like they're gonna plug people into this movie to like make it it's the Blade is gonna become nothing but a transition piece when it comes out.
Which is really funny you say that. I'm talking series. Why not have somebody drop in every episode?
It would have been better as a series, exactly. But this movie is gonna be made. Blade's gonna be an afterthought in his own movie. I'm telling you that now.
It could absolutely happen. It could absolutely happen. Marvel, get your stuff together. Get a bag, put all your stuff in there, throw it over your shoulder, and get out of here and get your stuff together.
At least tell us who Blade is going to be, please. Because I think
we won't know anything until they get the whole until they're like absolutely sure they can let Mahershala go. We'll hear nothing before that man's been out the door for 2 weeks or off set for 2 weeks. I promise you.
Speaking of casting, who should be Batman? So be looking out on our channel. I actually am currently editing a video that may be up by the time this goes up. I'm not sure. But be looking for where I cast James Gunn's Justice League. And one of the people I cast is Batman, of course, because he's one of the pillars. And I'm not going to tell you who I picked because that would ruin the video. But you gotta
go watch it.
But I will say there's a short list of people out there that people are looking at. And one of them is Alan Richardson. One of them is Jensen Ackles. One of them is, people talk about John Hamm all the time. There's a lot of people out there who could really take this role and probably do very, very well with it. So in that video or in this video, let us know who you would want as Batman in James Gunn's universe. There's a lot of good choices out there.
And it's not Winston Duke, you clickbaity buttholes.
Winston Duke. Yeah, people say that too.
He literally got hired for an Audibles. Like, do not be suckered by all these videos going, oh, Winston Duke cast as Batman. It's a technicality. It's on Audible. It's an Audible book, basically, guys. So don't get your panties in a bunch if you see a bunch of videos around. I've seen probably 40 just on my own. Shout out Panaloids. I see you over there.
It's not James Gunn canon. It's not canon.
It's not canon at all. There's a bunch of stuff that's out there that's not canon. But my personal pick, since I could go in the comments and argue with you guys, but I want you guys to argue with me. If you haven't watched Blue Mountain State or Reacher, and then you don't know who Alan Richardson is, it's fine. But if you've recently seen a preview with this giant blonde Adonis-looking creature with a bow and arrow in a movie called The Department of Ungentlemanly Warfare, opposite of Henry Cavill, a.k.a. Superman, making him look like a pebble with this boulder of a man, that's Alan Richardson. If you haven't watched Reacher, you need to watch Reacher because he's basically Batman as an ex-Army Ranger.
Or Titans.
Or Titans. He's Hawk in Titans, absolutely. My pick's Alan Richardson. Jensen Ackles makes him too much of a sex symbol. John Hamm, I think he's too old for the Brave and the Bold direction. I think Alan's kind of approaching the age that he couldn't do it. I think if they're going to do it, they need to get him now. And if they don't cast him as Batman, if he's not Aquaman, I'm done with DC. Like, this man, I'm sorry, I'm a stan. I am an Alan Richardson stan. And don't get me wrong, I have an open mind. But this man, he's the jawline, the muscles, the acumen of fighting. He's perfect. And he's not Jensen Ackles, Carry On My Wayward Son, Lucille, Supernatural, everybody. Everybody loves Jensen Ackles, don't get me wrong. And I love him too. He's great. But if we get him, I want him as a Ben Affleck type Batman. And that might be the direction James Gunn's going, but I don't think so. The way the Brave and the Bold set up, you bring in Robin, you bring in, I think Nightwing even possibly pops in there. It's for what it's going to be and for what James Gunn has already said about the Batman he wants, Alan Richardson fits it. And it allows David Corenswet not to be overshadowed by like an A-list megastar.
Well, just Ackles is not A-list.
He is a cult classic, beloved by all. No, you're right. He's not an A-list megastar, but everyone's going to be swooning over his butt rather than watching the dang movie. And I don't want to go see a Batman flick and stand up and slip. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I want to go in there. I want to be amazed by the brutality of Batman while he doesn't kill people and figures out everything everybody was trying to do at once. That's what I want. I don't want to hear in the background, oh, he's so dreamy. No. Sorry, Jensen.
And people think cast him as, Jason Todd as well, Red Hood.
I think that's a much better fit for his style. I think he would be a great Red Hood. I agree. Yeah, it's a solid pick.
So, what is going on in Video Game Corner, my friend?
Microsoft/Xbox does not drop the ball very often, ladies and gentlemen. Or at least when the ball's dropped, it's not their fault. Marvel vs. Capcom is dropping on all platforms except the Xbox One series, whatever. Xboxes in general, it's not going to be available. Does anybody want to know why? Technology. The fact that the MT engine that it all runs on, they're dropping 6 games, and it's going to be the Marvel vs. Capcom that you guys want. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. They're dropping Punisher. They're dropping X-Men, Children of the Atom, and they're dropping X-Men versus Street Fighter. All on this platform, arcade style. You get to whip out the sticks and play on Steam, on PlayStation, or on your Switch, but you will not be able to do it on your Xbox because of stupid stuff like that.
Cheap bastards.
And it's not just Xbox. Apparently, Capcom doesn't want to spend the money to fix it. Doesn't think it's worth fixing. My question: it's a why? Like, there's more Xbox Series X's and S's out there than PlayStation 5s. There's the multiplayer platform is better on Xbox. Don't get me wrong, PlayStation. I see you. You're making strides. You're trying. But Xbox, it's always been PlayStation's for the solo gamers, Xbox is for multiplayer, and then if you want an unlimited variety of games, basically, you get a PC. It's a multiplayer game. It's literally the game that you go whoop each other's asses in. And it's the game that, as it stands right now, is still better than MK1. Boom! I still brought it up. Anyway.
The hate never stops.
It'll never stop. And guess what, guys? No DLC to buy. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. But literally, guys, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. If you guys, I feel like our viewership is pretty well versed in the nerd realm and like seasoned gamers and seasoned nerds. You guys know it is top tier to this day, top tier. And X-Men versus Street Fighter was a cult classic. Just This is a huge deal, and the fact that it's not going to be on Xbox stinks. Good thing I got my trusty dusty PC back here, so I'll be playing the ever-loving crap out of it on release date, but I'll be using an Xbox controller on my PC.
That'll show them.
That'll show them. The only other things on the video game corner of things, we got updates coming through. Elden Ring, the new stuff, the Erd is just... I've seen, if you guys have beat the new DLC for Elden Ring, please drop in the comments how many deaths it took you. We got streamers up in the 600s, 700s on their death counters. People are creating, these death counters are getting really creative, by the way, just because of how many people are like actually counting how many times they die. Because Elden Ring's that hard, guys. And this is taking it, people are saying it's just as hard, if not harder than Dark Souls 2. Which is saying something. If you get a chance, Kai Cenat's a fun one to watch. If I wanted to, get my ass kicked on a consistent basis and just hate life, I'd get it. There's a long standing reach in these Soulsborne games that are just so stinking hard, and people just like getting the punishment. So if you guys are playing it, let us know. If you guys have beat it, let us know. I'm very curious to see. Fortnite dropped Fortnite Reload. It's the OG map, 40 people. It's just like Rebirth. They're ripping off Rebirth off of Call of Duty. It's fine. We're looking the other way. We're not seeing anything.
I have to say this, Brandon. I refuse to believe anything is harder than Lion King.
Super Nintendo Lion King?
Exactly.
Okay. That game would be fine. If there wasn't a 5 millisecond delay between your button push and the cord going into this. Because no, you can't have a 4-pin controller and it take that long for the input to go in. I swear, I think they went in there and said, okay, how do we mess this up? How do we make the giraffe timing? I know exactly what spot you're thinking of. The giraffe tilt timing.
Yep.
So to this day, I think they literally went through the damn stopwatch and said, okay, we need this one to go at 4 milliseconds because it takes them 5 milliseconds to push the button.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like when people are like, oh, Elder Scrolls or da-da-da, I'm like, Nah.
Oh yeah, no. Elden Ring poops on Simba. That's smear. That's smear. That's poop. That's Elden Ring poop. No, the Soulsborne games. It's a tier above. I don't even classify them as video games. I classify them as literally possibly taken to the Supreme Court as cruel and unusual punishment that people pay $80 for. I swear by it. Guantanamo Bay should not have had any like water or boards involved. It should have just had Soulsborne games everywhere.
But anybody says they beat Lion King is a goddamn liar.
Now here's the best part, guys. Is now I'm gonna go to YouTube and I'm gonna send him speed runs of Lion King, and he's gonna get really upset. Really upset. There's glitches past the garage. There's people who literally found a glitch and just like that's Video Game Corner. There's not much going on, guys. Not much going on really, besides Marvel vs. Capcom and EA College Football coming up. I'll have gameplay and a bunch of other clips for you guys once that comes out. FIFA 2K is supposed to come out in October. I don't believe it. Yeah, we'll keep you updated. I like to talk about stuff that's happening right now, so I don't talk about too many things up in the forward unless it's like something huge. EA College Football is going to be massive. It's about a month away, and that's about all I got for you guys. But I will have more updates as we get closer to the bigger releases, and of course, we'll have gameplay for you. Comment below if there's any games you want me to talk about.
A lot going on. And there's also a lot going on in the wrestling world, by the way. For instance,
I've been having so much fun.
For instance, the bloodline got bigger. We got Jacob Fatu in the mix.
Zilla's next, bro. Zilla's next.
Yeah,
but I gotta ask, as the Cody fan, how did it feel watching Jacob Fatu fly over and put him through that announcing table?
All I gotta say is a message just went out going, did that hurt?
Bro, he bounced off of him. When I saw, if you guys go back and watch that clip, it was like boom.
So, but no, Jacob Fatu is a beast. We all know this. Well, if you don't know, you're about to know. He is so agile for being a big man, and he reminds me of PCO a lot in that way.
He reminds me of like a PCO if PCO was Samoan,
right? Like
hardcore.
And so I see we're shaping up for new bloodline versus old bloodline. It's a story to tell its time. Brandon said this off campus is basically they're telling the Marvel story right now. But not only the Marvel story, but the wrestling story. We're
gonna get a secret war.
Yeah, you had that like new blood versus the old blood in WCW. This is basically the same story that they're telling. I'm not saying that they're wrong for telling it. I'm just saying it's a story that's been told. So at some point in time, I'm pretty sure Roman's coming back. He'll get the Usos back on his side. And you'll have Roman Reigns and the Usos versus, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu and Tonga and the Girls of Destiny. You're going to have that's what's going to happen. And
which side does The Rock take on that?
I think he's actually pulling the strings for Solo. I think Solo is answering to The Rock behind the scenes, and that's going to come out. So you're going to have The Rock being like the head of the table, and then Solo is going to be like basically, oh, I'm no longer in charge, and then it's going to get to him, and he's going to end up snapping, and he's going to end up destroying things for his team, and basically saying like F all you guys, right? And he's going to go on his own. And probably cost. They're going to have like, winner take all sort of scenario. And that's where Solo is going to snap. That's what I imagine is going to happen. But I think you need to hold off on Roman coming back for a while. But I don't think
time. They have so much time.
They do, but I don't think WWE will hold off as long as they should. I think they're going to want to basically shoot their load too soon. And they're going to have Roman come back way too soon. And not let this breathe, because
they're going to run it way too long, like they did with, they could just run it way too long as well. But everything I've seen, everyone's saying WrestleMania 41, Rock versus Roman.
Yes. I think that's where we're going,
especially with 2 days. Like you can go day one, Rock versus Roman Reigns, and then you can still have your main event, like big main event. I think they got so much time with this TNA deal, man. Or I'm not. Yeah, TNA. had to keep my things straight. But yeah, this whole TNA, yeah.
Say his name and he appears.
I believe in Joe Hendry. Dude, DJ singing it. We've seen so many stinking videos, and I've shown him so much. Like charting #1 in the UK. Like, come on, man. That was the biggest pop I've heard.
You got your kids singing Joe Hendry? That's awesome.
Dude, no, DJ literally sings I believe in Joe Hendry. Kim's like, what is that? I'm like, it's a good thing, I promise. But no, that was the biggest pop I have heard on TNA, or not TNA, but on NXT in a long time.
Yeah. And I think he's about to start a program with somebody. I think he's going to be on NXT programming more, which is good.
He was on Heatwave. I haven't gotten to watch it yet, but he was on Heatwave, right? Or has it aired yet?
I don't think it's aired yet. But yeah, I think you're right. I've said this off camera to Brandon, and maybe I've said it on camera, but WWE really needs to step up a little bit here. They, in my opinion, are not really living up to their end of the deal yet. They're not giving as much as TNA is. Now, do I expect for Cody Rhodes to show up in TNA? No, I don't. But if TNA is allowing Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace to appear on your programming, that's their A+ talent. So you could at least give them like a Wesley or something, right? Reunite the Rascals. Give them something. But we watched Against All Odds.
We did watch Against All Odds. Hold on just a second on the Rascals situation, because I have an opinion for you that with everything going on with AEW's trios division and everything like that, I don't think WWE is going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I don't think TNA wants to go there either, because then you got comparisons to AEW. I mean, you already get the comparisons for the solo and the duos, but if you go to that trios where that's their thing, we went and saw AEW Collision, and we were like, trios. And I looked at you, I'm like, why are they making such a big deal about trios? Because nobody else is really doing a trios championship.
Yeah, I don't think we need a championship. I just think a reunion.
Like just a three-way.
Just like a match, right? But also you have the thing about Wesley is a babyface, a good guy, and the Rascals are currently bad guys' heels in TNA. But I still think you could tell a story regardless of that.
Who would they go up against though in a trio match? You know what I mean?
Well, not the System.
Can't be the System because they're going to be beefing with the Hardys.
You could do.
You see what I mean?
Like
it's tough.
Some sort of. Well, the Rascals are feuding with. Currently, they're feuding with Steve Macklin and who was Steve Macklin's partner against All Odds?
The one he's fighting with. I can't remember. Oh my gosh. Mike Santana.
Yeah. So you could have Steve Macklin and Mike Santana against like just the one other person in there. It doesn't really matter who. Against the Rascals, just for a match. And
who else runs with Steve Macklin though? Steve Macklin's kind of a lone shark, but then Mike Santana. Okay, so put Wesley over there, and then you end up getting another NXT or WWE talent like LWO, even like not Andrade, but like
Joaquin Wilde or something.
It's like Joaquin Wilde or somebody like that. Yeah, exactly. Like just somebody to fill that void, just so they can say that they got them all back together again.
Joaquin Wilde has appeared in TNA. He started his career there. So yeah, I could see something like that. But my point is, like, I don't think it has, or maybe like a Sami Callihan.
It doesn't have to be an extended like run of a story.
Yeah. It just is like, hey, the Rascals are back together. And Wesley could even do a thing where he's just like, I don't like what you guys become. I'm teaming with you tonight. This is one off, but I don't like where you guys become. I don't want no parts of this. And they try to get him, like Wesley over to the dark side, so to speak. And
then he does, and they spray paint him in the face.
Right. Like, but I think you need to have that feel good reunion before it crumbles, sort of thing.
Yep.
But as far as Against All Odds, like when Presley came out to answer Jordan Grace's challenge, it was a dud. It was such a dud.
It was a good match though, but nobody knew who the heck she was. I think the wrestling was good. I think TNA fans were like, who? Apparently she's a top tier talent. From all the reports that I've got, she's a big up and comer. I don't think Jordan Grace needed to take on an up and comer for an open challenge. I think that was a chance to like Joe Hendry the situation and like
somebody that really pop, right?
Drop Naomi back in there real quick. That'd have been really funny. I know you don't want it. I know, but there would have been a reaction. The wrestling wouldn't have been as good.
I think you could have done Natty. I think,
and that would have been an NXT talent instead of a WWE talent, technically. Yes, yeah.
I think you could have done Baszler. You could have done. There's a lot of people who are regularly appearing in NXT right now that have name value that for a one-off match you could have done that people would be like, I know who that is. Even TNA fans, like a Natty, a Shayna Baszler. I'm not saying send like Charlotte,
yeah.
But even Roxanne Perez. I mean, they kind of set that up, right?
That would have been a great feud to extend through the duration of this, and like have Roxanne interfere in her matches, and have Jordan come over and interfere with her matches. There's definitely opportunity there. I think WWE dipped their toe in the water, and then TNA's like, here you go. And I think WWE's got to respond in kind very quickly in order to make this. And to the naked eye, it may not appear so to the casual fan, but we're over here going, there should be more. There should be the reactions. That's the biggest thing. Right now, the wrestling is so top tier at TNA, I don't think they can send a ton of people that could actually wrestle. And I think the one they sent could wrestle, but no reaction whatsoever. I was shocked. I was like,
and then TNA gives you your highest view count since WrestleMania, 41? Or so
40.
Since WrestleMania 40. So, and Joe Hendry. Exactly. But WWE does have a lot going on too. We got the Wyatt family back in the Wyatt 6.
Murder.
So you got Dexter Lumis under one of those masks. You got Joe Gacy. You got Eric Rowan.
Nikki Cross is Sister Abigail.
Yeah.
Then, of course, Uncle Howdy.
Bo Dallas.
They shredded through the lineup. Chad Gable broke his silence, so he's alive still. That's a good thing. A lot of people are like, this is cinema. This is cinema. Don't get me wrong. It was cool. It was very cool. Cool way to introduce them. Let's see what happens, because you got 3 people in there that can wrestle and 2 that can't. So I want to know what they're going to do with them. There's your heavyweight, Uncle Howdy, technically. Well, actually, technically, and Eric Rowan, but he's an enforcer. It's not going to challenge for anything. What championships are going to go after? I think Gacy and Loomis will be a crazy tag team if they get them together and do the darn thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first thing you need to set up is a Monsters Ball with Eric Rowan and PCO in this TNA partnership. I need to see a TNA star just beat I think PCO in a Monsters Ball. I think that's going to happen with what's his name, AJ Francis first. I think he's got to handle his business with that man first. But the first thing I thought of when I saw Eric Rowan in the Bunny Mask, I was like, can we please get a Monsters Ball with him and PCO? Can we? Like, can we get the crazy flying French Canadian versus the Kentucky Redbeard? Like, can we just do it? Can we just do it, please? The first thing in my brain was, what are they going to challenge for? What kind of chaos are they going to commit? And how they're going to get their message across, because they got a message of, we're a family, we'll take care of you type thing. And I wonder if they're going to add to the ranks.
Well, they have to, right? Because I think I count 5, not 6.
SICKS. Bray is the 6th. And that was, from what I've seen, it's been SICKS 6. So technically it's the 6 with ICKS. And then the 6, he had Bray on his glove.
No.
So I think that's going to be the 6th thing. I don't think they add to the ranks. Because who else can? If Alexa was around still, I'd think that they were going to grab her up and pull her in. But I hear she's not going to be available for quite a while.
And that goes back to also, and for someone who loved Bray, what type of legs does this have? Because there's only so long that it could be a homage to Bray. Because eventually that you have to go somewhere else with it. I mean, there's only so long you can do that, in my opinion. So they kind of have to forge their own thing to have lasting power.
Yep.
They can't just be a cover band and be portrayed as a cover band.
Exactly.
And right now, that's kind of what they're doing, is it's a cover band of the original Riot family. In order to have staying power, they need to get away from that. So I hope they have a plan here and not just to be another cover.
I don't remember the Wyatt family drawing blood like that, though.
True, but
ambush style. They have gotten into like that farm fight and stuff like that. Like, this felt different. Like,
right.
The ambush style, the guerrilla warfare. I think they might just be there to create chaos because that's one thing Nikki Cross is really good at doing.
But the original Wyatt family, that's what was their motives too.
Yeah, but Bray got gold hungry, didn't he, at one time? And then he didn't make it and he snapped, became the Fiend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if they just said, we don't need no gold. We got our family and we just create chaos. And that would have more staying power for me than the cover band situation. I seriously hope that WWE does not waste Dexter Lumis and Gacy as a tag team. It is too good. It is too good of an opportunity to waste. I think that's the only gold they can go after. Because Uncle Howdy, I just can't see him as champion. But you could see these not necessarily goofballs, but ghoulish figures holding on to the tag titles, and he's just the insurmountable because they're so. And then they have the family, so the family helps keep that golden family. So
I don't think you need to keep Joe Gacy and Loomis underneath the mask. I think you don't have to keep them as their alter Wyatt egos.
Yeah,
the pig and whatnot. I think you let them take off their masks and be Joe Gacy and Dexter Loomis. I mean, I think they're already eccentric, right? In exchange, but they could put that up to 100, but let them be a tag team. And because Joe Gacy, he also ran his own little cult, right? So
but it was taken, and that's the story for all of them. Is they had something taken away from them. Nikki ASH, you ripping off Molly Holly, and she's like, super real. I was scrolling through reels today and actually came across that clip. But then, obviously, Uncle Howdy lost Bray, and then Eric lost Luke. So it's one of those things where... And Dexter, what happened with Dexter?
He was married to Indy Hartwell.
Yeah. And she's got traction.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I thought was coming out to Jordan. Because, like I said... TNA has that level of wrestling. I don't think the Wyatt Six infiltrate TNA at all, unless it's Eric versus PCO. Maybe Joe Gacy. Maybe Joe Gacy.
They can have a lot of good matches. Sami Callihan.
I just don't think Dexter is up to snuff to do a Monsters Ball. I don't think his spots are not clean enough for that. I think Joe could do it in a heartbeat. Sami Callihan would be a nasty pick too. I need Frankie Kazarian to get just completely demolished while he's up in the upper echelon. King of TNA, my foot. I can't. He's doing his job. Ken Shamrock ripoff looking mother trucker.
He's a great heel. He's a great bad guy.
He's a great heel. I love to hate him. I want to see him get his just ass beat. I would love to see Gable do it. That's the funny part, is I'd love to see Gable and him get into a beef because the Battle of the Egos. It reminds me of Edge and Kurt Angle. I feel like that would be a good playoff, and they'd be button heads. Oh, I'm the king of TNA. I'm gonna come take your crown type thing. I think that'd be cool. There's a lot of possibilities. I just hope WWE does not squander it because it's an excellent partnership. We didn't see it coming, but we both were like, "This is awesome," because TNA needs to be on TV.
It makes a lot of sense. And the last topic I want to talk about is that Triple H has hinted that once they go to Netflix, that the gloves come off as far as the PG era being done.
They're going back to 2 hours too. And it's going to be no ads. If you have premium Netflix, it's no ads.
Which I think is smart because you'll have the edgy Raw, which was what it was back in the day.
The Raw.
Plus... SmackDown for the more family-friendly audience if they keep it that way. So you'll have both sides of the coin. So you're not alienating audiences from both shows. You're just alienating them from one, So...
Hey, did you hear they're also making SmackDown 3 hours?
I don't think that's smart at all.
I don't think it's smart either, but guess what, guys? If they make it 3 hours long, what Blue streaming service loves to run ads is now charging $2 to $3 more for their ad-free content.
Is it the one where you buy things from? Yeah. So
I'm telling you right now, I'm calling it right now. The Blue brand's going to Amazon. The Blue brand will be going to Amazon Prime Video.
I can see it.
You heard it here first. But man, what a get for Netflix for them to just take the gloves off and we don't have pay-per-views anymore. This deal includes pay-per-views, guys. We are going to get some of the nastiest, most raw content WWE's ever created.
I think the only exception to it, because I think they're still their moneymaker and they want to make it'll be hidden by like a additional tier paywall somehow, is WrestleMania. I don't think they're going to give WrestleMania on Netflix for
if you are paying $19.95 or more, I think you get WrestleMania 2. But also talking about PLEs, did you hear what city they're going back to?
No, where are they going?
Indianapolis, which makes it within reach for us.
That's been on my bucket list to go to WrestleMania. So
it is literally, they're not just doing WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. All three will be in Indianapolis at some point. They just announced it because Triple H was on the Pat McAfee show recently, and he completely dragged Dom Mysterio. It was pretty great. So he outlined it. Let me get my information correct on this, though.
Probably plugging that stupid Pat McAfee pack, huh?
I didn't watch it close enough.
Look at that episode a couple episodes back. No one's buying that pack. But
WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and others. Hold on. Partnership begins February 1st with the Royal Rumble, which officially kicks off the road to WrestleMania. Lucas Oil Stadium will also host a future 2-night SummerSlam and a future 2-night WrestleMania as part of the deal, with those dates still to be determined.
Sounds like we may have to go to Indianapolis.
It makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot more within reach, for sure. Because WrestleMania tickets aren't like crazy. Indianapolis is just an expensive city. It's less expensive than Chicago, though.
But don't get me started about
I didn't want. But
yeah.
It's a big get for Indianapolis, guys. It's a big get because you not only get your WrestleMania there at Lucas Oil, and Lucas Oil Stadium they just had the Olympic trials for swimming, which is insane to think about. That they put a swimming pool, like enough swimming pools to do Olympic trials for swimming in a football stadium. It's very cool looking. If you get a chance to go look at those pictures, Google it. They host the Combine. They host a lot of live events in that stadium, a lot of concerts and stuff. It's going to be very cool to see them come back to Indianapolis and rock that place with SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. Like, that's crazy. That's just cool. But especially if they space it out, Adrian, that makes it very attainable to us local kids for sure, especially in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to make plans and take y'all along for the ride, live stream it for. That's actually my birthday. February 1st, that weekend, that's my birthday. So maybe, we'll see, who knows? Figure something out. Or we just save thousands of dollars and go to WrestleMania.
Right. WrestleMania is about as much as a Super Bowl ticket. So we have to pay them bills in order to do that.
Speaking of bills.
And we got a lot of sponsors, even a brand new one that Brandon's going to get into in a second. But so, as you know, we got the lovely Streamyard, which we're streaming to you on. The duck. And if Darkwing Duck. Okay. And if you buddy. And if you buy a paid tier, we can help save you some money. If you go in the description, we got a link for you. Click that link and you'll save $10. And while you're doing that, you may want to get your energy drink on, get your energy drink fixed, and not have to deal with nasty aftertastes. Ain't that right, Brandon?
All right, guys. We've been talking about this for months. Apex Energy is back up and running. Grape and ice are the two flavors. Used to be Bomb Pop. Can't do Bomb Pop because, Blue Bunny nonsense. But Ice Pop and Grape. Grape's amazing, guys. I mix it with my Sprite, and I mix it in a nice 44-ounce cup styrofoam, and I drink that sucker down. You don't get that toe fungus aftertaste you get with G Fuel and a couple of those bigger names. Echo Vision, I see you. Ghost, I see you.
Prime.
Apex is amazing, guys. It's sweet without being sugary. It's high energy. It's nootropics. It's in your brain. It doesn't make you all jittery. It helps with that hyper focus. Get your tub today. Affiliate link is going to be down in the description. Code PWN10. That's right. We have a code for you to save 10%. Make sure you punch that code in. Let them know who sent you. Your boys at PWN. 10%. PWN 10. But something new and exciting, guys. If you guys follow social media, I talked about a lightning strike that happened about a year ago at my home. I decided to take my Xbox that I got replaced by insurance, but I wanted to see if this company could take care of my Xbox, you know? It took a while because it was extensive damage, guys. It was a lightning strike. It searched through the whole board of the Xbox. They had to find and micro solder, and parts are hard to come by. But guess what, guys? It is purring like a kitten. I got almost a brand new Series X sitting at the house now because we were able to figure out what was wrong, and they took care of me so good, guys. They're just amazing work they did over there at Elite Electronics on Oliver. Over here, over by where Churn and Burn used to be, guys, here local to Wichita. They take care of your phone, your PC, your console. They even have some consoles for sale. They are also the exclusive Zag accessory retailer. Make sure you guys pop in and they'll take care of you on all your needs, whether it be glass or accessories for your phone. If you got an old phone lying around, you got an old 64 that you don't know what's wrong with it, they can take care of you. Or if you're like me, you find out one of your next-gen consoles is busted, they will crack it open and take care of you. It is very reasonable price, guys. They take care. They even do controller modifications. I'm going to take one of my controllers in real soon and get some mouse click triggers on one of my random Xbox controllers, and it's going to be sweet, guys. Make sure you check them out. Elite Electronics. We will link their Facebook down in the YouTube description. Make sure if you guys are listening along in Spotify or where you guys digest your podcast from, Apple, Anchor, whatever, make sure you guys pop over to the YouTube. Drop a little, what's over here, right there? There's a little red button right here. Hit the subscribe. Make sure you guys got the bells on. Make sure you guys mash our comments. Let us know what you guys want to hear. And as always, Adrian, what they got to do?
You got to keep it nerdy.
Peace out, ladies and gents. I love each and every one of you. Let's go!